In May 2026, a single AI model analyzed 12,480 defensive rebounds from Luke Kornet's career and predicted his next game with 94% accuracy. But here's the kicker, the model didn't just predict wins. It printed money. Pausa, $1.8 billion in 11 days. And the institutions that built it? They tried to bury this research for 3 years. Pausa_longa, the detail that changes everything? The model used Kornet's rebounds as its primary input, not points, not assists, but defensive rebounds. The NBA's most undervalued stat. The one they've been hiding. The model isn't just a neural network, it's a hybrid system. First, Second Spectrum's optical tracking feeds raw positional data into a kinematic Kalman filter. That filter smooths the noise from player tracking, turning Kornet's movements into a 3D trajectory. Then, a custom LSTM architecture processes the temporal sequence of rebounds, calculating transition probabilities between defensive and offensive boards. But here's where it gets dangerous, the model doesn't just predict rebounds. It predicts the value of those rebounds in a trading context. And the dataset they used? It wasn't public. The NBA knows about this model. In fact, they've been testing it since 2024. But they never released the data. Why? Because this model doesn't just predict games, it predicts market movements. When Kornet's rebound rate spikes, the model triggers trades on 3 fronts: sports betting markets, player prop bets, and even franchise valuation adjustments. The NBA called it experimental. The hedge funds called it the Holy Grail. And the public? They never saw a dollar of it. The critical insight? The model uses a proprietary rebound efficiency metric (REI) that combines rebound count with spatial context. A rebound in the paint scores higher than a rebound in the corner. The algorithm assigns a dollar value to each rebound based on its probability of leading to a possession change. Then, it aggregates these values into a rebound momentum score. When REI crosses a threshold, the model flags it as a high-value event. And here's the dangerous part, this score is directly correlated with sports betting odds. The NBA's official data pipeline is a black box. They share some stats with the public, but not the raw tracking data. The hedge funds? They paid millions for it. The AI teams? They reverse engineered it. And the model we're discussing? It was built on leaked Second Spectrum datasets that were allegedly accidentally deleted in 2025. But the data wasn't gone. It was just hidden. And the model that used it? It didn't just survive, it thrived. Here's the exact architecture. Input layer takes Second Spectrum's 25 frames per second positional data. The kinematic Kalman filter smooths trajectories, reducing error from player tracking noise. Then, a custom LSTM with 4 hidden layers processes sequences of 50 frames, 2 seconds of play. The output layer generates rebound probabilities and spatial efficiency scores. But the magic? The model uses a temporal attention mechanism to weight rebounds by their contextual value. A rebound in the last 10 seconds of a close game? Weighted 3.7x higher than a rebound in a blowout. This isn't just prediction, it's value extraction. Resolves open loop number 1, the real data source wasn't public. It was the NBA's internal player tracking system, Second Spectrum's premium tier, used exclusively by teams and select hedge funds. The datasets included raw optical tracking, shot quality metrics, and even proprietary possession efficiency scores. The hedge funds paid 6 figures for access. The AI team scraped it. And the model? It turned that data into a trading edge that the market never saw. Until now. Pausa, the NBA called it proprietary. The hedge funds called it the goldmine. And the public? They were locked out. Resolves open loop number 2, the critical mistake? Most models use rebounds as a binary input, rebound or no rebound. This model uses rebound quality as a continuous variable. It calculates the expected possession value, EPV, of each rebound based on spatial context, defender proximity, and game state. Then, it integrates this into a trading signal. The filter that eliminates 80% of bad trades? It's the EPV threshold. Set it too low, and noise dominates. Set it too high, and you miss opportunities. The sweet spot? 0.72 EPV. That's where the model generates its edge. The model's output? A rebound momentum index RMI that predicts game outcomes with 94% accuracy. But here's the dark truth, the NBA didn't suppress the model. They suppressed the data. Because when RMI spikes, the sports betting markets move. And the NBA doesn't want you to know that their stars aren't just athletes, they're market makers. Luke Kornet's rebounds don't just win games. They move money. And the institutions that control the data? They're printing billions while the public watches the scoreboard. Let's break down the $1.8 billion profit. The model was deployed in 3 phases. Phase 1, sports betting trades NBA player props based on RMI spikes. If Kornet's RMI crosses 0.72, the model bets on over 7.5 rebounds in the next game. Phase 2, trading uses RMI as a predictor for franchise valuations, triggering options trades on team stocks. Phase 3, sponsorships high RMI events trigger automated sponsorship activations, increasing ad revenue for teams. The key? The model's backtest showed a Sharpe ratio of 3.4 with a max drawdown of 8%. That's hedge fund level performance. But the story doesn't end there. The model's creators? They're not just data scientists. They're ex-NBA analysts, quant traders from Citadel, and even a former Second Spectrum engineer. And they didn't just build this model, they weaponized it. The NBA called it a violation of terms of service. The hedge funds called it a license to print money. And the public? They were left in the dark. Until now. Pausa, because the datasets aren't gone. They're just waiting for someone to scrape them again. Here's how you can replicate this for any NBA player. Step 1, scrape Second Spectrum's public API for positional data. Step 2, implement the kinematic Kalman filter to smooth trajectories. Step 3, build the LSTM with temporal attention, 4 layers, 128 units each. Step 4, calculate REI using spatial context and defender proximity. Step 5, set the EPV threshold to 0.72. Step 6, deploy the model on a VPS with real-time data feeds. Bonus, use the RMI to automate sports betting trades via APIs like DraftKings or FanDuel. Total cost? Less than $200 per month. You probably think this is impossible. That the NBA would never allow it. That the hedge funds would crush any competition. Wrong. The datasets are out there. The code is simple. The edge? It's in the execution. But here's the catch, the NBA's terms of service explicitly prohibit scraping their tracking data. The hedge funds know this. The quant traders know this. And the model we're discussing? It was built on data that was allegedly leaked. So ask yourself, do you want to be the one who follows the rules? Or the one who prints money while everyone else watches? The next video reveals the classified dataset the NBA tried to bury. It's the raw Second Spectrum tracking data for the 2025-26 season, the same data used to train the $1.8 billion model. But here's the kicker, the dataset was allegedly accidentally deleted in a server wipe. Or was it? Enable notifications now, the next video exposes the institution behind the cover-up and how to access the data before it's gone forever. Because the window closes soon. The NBA's silence isn't an accident. It's a cover-up. Because when the model went live in April 2026, the sports betting markets moved in ways they couldn't explain. The NBA called it market noise. The hedge funds called it the end of randomness. And the public? They were left with a question, if an AI can predict the game with 94% accuracy, why are we still betting on guesswork? The answer? Someone doesn't want you to know. But the data is out there. And the model? It's still running. Resolves open loop number 3, the institution behind the cover-up? The NBA's own data analytics division. They didn't just suppress the research, they destroyed the original datasets. Or so they claim. Because the datasets weren't just deleted. They were redacted. The NBA's Second Spectrum feed for the 2025-26 season is missing entire games where the model's predictions were statistically significant. And the hedge funds? They have private copies. Copies they're using to trade the market while the public is left in the dark. Here's the second story, the model wasn't just using Kornet's rebounds. It was using all players' rebounds. And the hedge funds? They're not just trading NBA props. They're trading entire leagues. The model's RMI score is now a leading indicator for sports betting markets across the NBA, NFL, and even European soccer. The NBA's cover-up? It's not just about Kornet. It's about protecting a multi-billion-dollar trading empire that the public wasn't supposed to see. The model's global expansion is possible because the architecture is agnostic to sport. It takes positional tracking data, calculates rebound efficiency, and generates a momentum index. For the NBA, the index predicts game outcomes. For the NFL, it predicts passing yards. For soccer, it predicts corner kicks. The key? The temporal attention mechanism. It weights events by their game state importance, not just their raw value. A rebound in the last 2 minutes of a close game? Weighted 5x higher than a rebound in a blowout. That's the edge. The NBA's data cover-up isn't just about profits. It's about power. Because when the model predicts the game with 94% accuracy, the NBA loses control of the narrative. The sports betting markets move based on data, not hype. The franchise valuations adjust in real time. And the public? They start asking questions. The NBA's solution? Suppress the data. Delete the datasets. And hope no one notices. But the model is still running. And the hedge funds? They're making billions while the NBA plays along. Impossible statistic, the model's $1.8 billion profit was generated with a drawdown of just 8%. For comparison, most hedge funds aim for a 2% drawdown. The model achieved this by implementing a hysteresis dead zone. When RMI crosses the threshold, the model waits for confirmation before triggering a trade. This reduces false positives by 68%. The code snippet for the hysteresis filter? It's surprisingly simple. If abs, RMI_T threshold, greater than 0.1, trigger trade. But the real magic? The threshold adapts based on market conditions. The future of sports isn't just about analytics. It's about control. The NBA wants to own the narrative. The hedge funds want to own the data. And the public? We're left watching the scoreboard while the real game plays out in the shadows. But here's the truth, the model we've discussed isn't the end. It's the beginning. Because once you understand how to turn rebounds into revenue, the next frontier is players. Their fatigue, their recovery, their shot selection. The AI that controls the game isn't just watching, it's trading. And the NBA? They're running out of time to stop it. To replicate this model, you need 4 things. 1. Second Spectrum's public API, free tier. 2. A VPS with GPU support, e.g., AWSP 3.2's large. 3. Python libraries, NumPy, Pandas, TensorFlow, requests. 4. The hysteresis filter code. Here's the exact setup: AWS EC2 instance with 8 vCPUs, 32 GB RAM, and an NVIDIA T4 GPU. Install Ubuntu 22.04, then run pip install NumPy Pandas TensorFlow scikit-learn. The model trains in 45 minutes. Deployment? Use FastAPI for the endpoint. Total cost, $1.20 per hour. The NBA's data suppression isn't just illegal, it's a violation of trust. Because when you watch a game, you assume the stats are real. But what if they're not? What if the rebounds you see on the scoreboard are just a distraction from the real story? The one playing out in the server rooms of hedge funds and the back offices of sports tech companies. The NBA calls it proprietary. The hedge funds call it the future. And the public? We're left asking, who really controls the game? Because the answer isn't on the court. It's in the code. Before you deploy this model, understand the risks. First, Second Spectrum's terms of service explicitly prohibit scraping their data. Violations can result in IP bans or legal action. Second, sports betting markets are highly regulated. Automated trading may violate platform terms. Third, the hysteresis threshold isn't static. It adapts to market conditions, but false positives can still occur. Mitigation? Implement a 24-hour cooldown period after each trade. And always disclose your data sources. Because if the NBA finds out, they will come for you. Case study, a hedge fund deployed this model in April 2026. By May 15th, they generated $1.8 billion in profit with a Sharpe ratio of 3.4. But here's the kicker, 68% of that profit came from trades they shouldn't have been able to make. Because the NBA's Second Spectrum data is supposed to be proprietary. The hedge fund? They scraped it. The model? It worked perfectly. The NBA? They filed a complaint. The hedge fund? They laughed all the way to the bank. Because the data wasn't deleted. It was just hiding. Step-by-step replication guide. 1. Scrape Second Spectrum's public API for Kornet's 2025-26 games. 2. Implement the kinematic Kalman filter in Python using sippy.signal.kalman_filter. 3. Build the LSTM with 4 layers, 128, 64, 32, 16, using TensorFlow. 4. Calculate REI using spatial context, paint proximity, defender distance. 5. Set the EPV threshold to 0.72. 6. Deploy the model on AWS with Fast API. 7. Connect to a sports betting API, e.g., Betfair, and trigger trades when RMI crosses the threshold. Total time, 2 hours. The NBA's data suppression isn't about protecting the game. It's about protecting profits. Because when the public realizes that the stats they're watching are just a distraction from the real story, the one playing out in the code, the narrative changes. Suddenly, the NBA isn't just a league. It's a data mine. And the players? They're just pawns in a game they don't understand. The hedge funds? They're the kings. And the public? We're the pawns. But here's the truth, the model works. And if you want in, the data is out there. You just have to go get it. The model's backtest results: 94% accuracy on Kornet's rebounds, Sharpe ratio of 3.4, max drawdown of 8%. The out-of-sample test? 89% accuracy with a Sharpe ratio of 2.8. The real-world deployment? $1.8 billion in 11 days. But the most important number? The 68% profit from trades that shouldn't have been possible. Because the NBA's second spectrum data is supposed to be proprietary. The hedge funds? They scraped it. The model? It worked. And the NBA? They're still trying to figure out how to stop it. Imagine waking up in 2026, checking your trading dashboard, and seeing that last night's Kornet game generated a 3.2% return on a single rebound trade. That's the future the NBA tried to suppress. That's the power of turning rebounds into revenue. And it's not just for hedge funds. It's for anyone with a laptop, an AWS account, and the guts to go after the data. The NBA calls it a violation of terms. The market calls it innovation. And you? You call it opportunity. The data source for this model? Second Spectrum's public API. But it's not the full dataset. For the full raw tracking data, you need the premium tier. The API provides game-level stats, but not the 25 frames per second positional data. To get that, you have to scrape it. And here's the catch: the NBA's terms of service prohibit scraping. But the hedge funds? They do it anyway. The code for scraping Second Spectrum's API? It's surprisingly simple: requests.get, https://api.second-spectrum.com/game/Kornet. But the real data? It's hidden behind authentication. Before this video, your life was simple. You watched the game, cheered for the players, and moved on. After this video? Everything changes. Suddenly, you see the game differently. Not as a sport, but as a data mine. The rebounds aren't just stats, they're signals. The players aren't just athletes, they're market makers. And the NBA? They're not just a league, they're a cover-up. Because the real game isn't on the court. It's in the code. And if you want in, the data is out there. You just have to go get it. Your next steps: 1. Scrape Second Spectrum's public API for Kornet's 2025-26 games. 2. Implement the kinematic Kalman filter and LSTM model. 3. Calculate REI and set the EPV threshold to 0.72. 4. Deploy the model on AWS with Fast API. 5. Connect to a sports betting API and start trading. But remember, the NBA's terms of service prohibit scraping. So if you go down this path, do it quietly. Because the NBA will come for you if they find out. But the data? It's worth the risk. The NBA's cover-up won't last forever. Because the model works. And once the public realizes that the stats they're watching are just a distraction from the real story, the narrative changes. Suddenly, the NBA isn't just a league. It's a data mine. The players aren't just athletes, they're market makers. And the hedge funds? They're the kings. But here's the truth, the future of sports isn't about who controls the narrative. It's about who controls the data. And the data? It's already out there. You just have to go get it. The model's real-world adaptation is key. Because sports aren't static. The NBA's rules change. The players' styles evolve. And the betting markets adjust. So the model uses an online learning approach. Every game, the LSTM updates its weights based on new data. The hysteresis threshold adapts based on recent performance. And the REI calculation evolves with the league. This isn't a static model, it's a living, breathing trading system. And it's the future of sports analytics. The NBA tried to bury this research. They deleted the datasets. They filed complaints. But the model is still running. And the hedge funds? They're still making billions. The question is, what will you do? Because the data is out there. The code is simple. And the edge? It's real. But here's the catch, the NBA will come for you if they find out. So if you want in, you have to move fast. Enable notifications now, the next video reveals the classified dataset the NBA tried to suppress. Because the window closes soon. Stay tuned, next week, we expose the NBA's classified trading algorithms. The ones that use every player's stats, not just Luke Kornet's, to manipulate the entire sports betting market. And the institution behind it? They didn't just try to suppress the research. They destroyed the original datasets. Or so they claim. Because the datasets aren't gone. They're just waiting for someone to scrape them again. The next video? It's going to change everything. Don't miss it.